So, okay children, let us proceed to cleavage now. Once fertilization occurs, a diploid zygote is formed in the ampulla and zona pellucida is still intact. And now, how it develops into an embryo, a blastocyst. This embryonic development is called as a cleavage divisions. Mitotic, the zygote starts divisions. What divisions? Mitotic cell divisions. So the mitotic divisions taking place in the zygote is referred as cleavage divisions. And the resulting cells of the cleavage are referred as, the daughter cells are referred as blastomeres. They are referred as blastomeres. So now once the cleavage, the points what you have to know about cleavage is, mitotic cell divisions taking place in the zygote is called as a cleavage. Cleavage occurs in the fallopian tubes and the resulting cells of the cleavage are called as blastomeres. The point we should know is, during cleavage, the number of cells will go on increase. That means zygote divides into 2, which divides into 4, then divides into 8, then divide into 16. So like that, the number of blastomeres after every cleavage are going on increasing. So obviously, you will be thinking that as the number of blastomeres are increasing, the size of the embryo also will increase. But the size of the embryo will not increase. It remains the same. Why? Because even though the number of blastomeres are increasing, the size of the blastomere is decreasing, because of which the size of the embryo is remaining constant, same. So these are the points we should know. Cleavage, mitotic cell divisions in zygote. During cleavage, oxygen consumption is more. Cleavage occurs in fallopian tube. After cleavage, the number of blastomeres increase, but the size of the blastomeres decrease because the cytoplasm is decreasing. So the size of the embryo remains the same, unaltered. Why? The size of the blastomeres is decreasing after every cleavage because of the absence of interphase. So we all know in normal mitotic cell division, if this cell divides by mitosis into 2 daughter cells, yet once they are not dividing again to 2 daughter cells, this cell remains for some time in interphase. And interphase has G1 phase, S phase, G2 phase, where the cell size grow and DNA also will increase. So here in cleavage divisions, interphase is absent. Interphase is absent means G1 and G2 phase are absent, but S phase is present. Because of the presence of S phase, the DNA will increase, but the cytoplasm will decrease. So after every cleavage, the amount of DNA is increasing, children, but only the cytoplasm is decreasing. So because of which the size of blastomere is decreasing, even though the number of blastomere is increasing and the size of the embryo is remaining the same. That is about the general cleavage points we should know. Now tell me, children, cleavage is meiotic or mitotic cell division? It's a mitotic cell division. Cleavage occurs in which part of the humans? It is in the fallopian tube of the human female reproductive system. Now cleavage, consumption of oxygen is more or less, it is very high. So the resulting cells of the cleavage are referred as what? Blastomeres. After every cleavage, the number of blastomeres will increase. After every cleavage, the size of blastomeres will decrease. After every cleavage, the amount of cytoplasm will decrease. After every cleavage, DNA amount will increase. This is because of the absence of G1 and G2 phase of the interphase. After every cleavage, the size of the embryo will remain the same. So these are the general points about the cleavage. And cleavage, another important point what we should know is cleavage and yolk are directly proportional to each other. If yolk is there, cleavage will be slow. If yolk is not there, cleavage will be fast. So yolk is present means cleavage is slow. Yolk is absent means cleavage is fast. Meaning yolk and cleavage are inversely proportional to each other. The amount of yolk is high, cleavage slow. The amount of yolk less, cleavage fast. So both are inversely proportional to each other. Now let us see about the human cleavage. In humans, the cleavage is, the human eggs are alecycle, meaning there is no yolk. So the cleavage is holoblastic, complete like this, resulting in two blastomeres. Holoblastic cleavage, indeterminate cleavage, that is in early embryonic divisions, the fate of blastomere is not determined, and radial cleavage, that is about the human cleavage. Radial cleavage means the blastomeres are radially arranged along the central axis of the body. So in humans, the first cleavage is holoblastic, the cleavage is holoblastic, indeterminate and radial. The first cleavage is meridional. Meridional meaning from top to bottom like this, vertical. The second cleavage also meridional, but at right angles to the first cleavage. If I would have brought one apple or tomato, I would have shown you very clearly. But I forgot to bring. But you imagine, yeah, assume the first cleavage is from vertical like this, going like this, top to bottom. The second cleavage also vertical, top to bottom only, but like this, at right angles to the first cleavage. Understood that? Assume if this is the first cleavage, meridional. The second cleavage also meridional. How to show? Like this. At right angles to the first cleavage. The second cleavage occurs in one blastomere, then proceeds in the second blastomere. So only a transient 3-celled stage occurs between 2 and 4-celled stage. The first cleavage is holoblastic, resulting in a 2-celled stage. The first cleavage is holoblastic and meridional, resulting in 2-celled stage. The second cleavage also meridional, vertical, but at right angles to the first cleavage. So it should result in 4-celled stage. But because the first cleavage is not simultaneously occurring in these 2 cells, it is occurring in one of the blastomere first, then proceeding in the second blastomere. So a transient 3-celled stage results between 2 and 4-celled stage. That is about the second cleavage, which results in 4 cells. And the third cleavage is horizontal, which results in 8 cells. After the 3 cleavages, the pattern of the cleavage is random in humans. Further cleavages, no particular regularity is maintained. Only 3 cleavages we should remember, children. In humans, the cleavage is holoblastic, meaning complete. The cleavage is radial. The cells are radially arranged around the central axis. Then we can call it as radial cleavage. Indeterminate cleavage. The fate of the blastomere is not determined in the early embryonic stages indeterminate cleavage. So in humans, cleavage is holoblastic, radial and indeterminate. Now in humans, the first cleavage is vertical or meridional, anything we can say, resulting in two blastomeres. The second cleavage is also vertical, that is meridional, but at right angles to the first cleavage. That means it should result in 4 cells. But it is not resulting in 4 cells because the second cleavage is occurring in one blastomere first, then proceeding in the next blastomere. So a 3-celled stage is between 4-celled stage. A transient 3-celled stage appears between 2 and 4-celled stage. Then it results in 4-celled stage. The third cleavage is horizontal, which results in 8 cells. Afterwards, there is no particular pattern for cleavage. So further cleavages results in 8 to 16th cell stage called as morula. The point what you have to concentrate here is, children, you can see throughout the cleavage divisions, zona pellucida is remaining intact. Zona pellucida did not disappear, it is there still. Zona pellucida, here also, here also. Now 8 to 16 cell stage is called as a morula. So assume morula is a little mulberry. It is a solid ball of cells. That means inside fully it is filled with cells. No hollow space. And zona pellucida remains intact here. This is morula. Compaction occurs in morula. Because of compaction, the inner cell mass separates from outer cell layer. Zona pellucida still remaining. So this, due to compaction, inner cell mass segregate from outer layer. The outer layer cells become flat and we call them as trophoblast. Trophoblast are trophoblast which secrete some liquid into this structure, which results in the formation of a cavity called as a blastocele. And because of which the inner cell mass will be pushed to one side. So this is the inner cell mass, pushed to one side. And this is a blastocele. Such a structure with a blastocele is called as blastocyst. This is blastocyst. Now the inner cell mass is attaching to some of the trophoblast cells. And these trophoblast cells to which inner cell mass is attaching is referred as cells of Robber. Robber is the scientist who discovered these cells. These cells will secrete some sticky substance for attachment, for implantation. And the inner cell mass is the precursor of the embryo. It is the future embryo. The inner cell mass is having pluripotent stem cells. In future, it is going to form into ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. And you all know from ectoderm, nervous system, that and this, some structures are formed. From mesoderm, blood, bone, etc. are formed. From endoderm, some of the structures are formed. So whole human embryo is formed from inner cell mass only. So the inner cell mass is a embryoblast, immature embryo or precursor of the embryo. that is inner cell mass. Trophoblast is having nothing to do with the formation of embryo. Its function is only providing nourishment and helping in implantation. Once the blastocyst is formed, because of this cavity called as a blastocele, the size of the blastocyst will increase. So what happens? Zona pellucida will rupture. A slit occurs in zona pellucida and blastocyst is hatched out. Now at this stage, what happens? Zona pellucida disappears. If zona pellucida is not there here all, what happens? The embryo may attach somewhere here, resulting in ectopic pregnancy. If embryo attaches to the wall of the uterus, then that is a normal pregnancy. Usually it attaches in the fundic part, that is general thing. But anywhere, here, anywhere it can attach, that is never a fault. Other than the wall of the uterus, if it is attaching in some other place, say in the cervix, or in the vagina, or in the fallopian tube, then such pregnancy is referred as ectopic pregnancy. Usually it occurs in fallopian tube. Why? Because zona pellucida sometimes may tear here only. Zona pellucida tears here means cells of Robert will be exposed and sticky substance will be there in cells of Robert, which attaches the embryo here itself. So this results in what? Ectopic pregnancies. So to avoid that, throughout the embryonic development, throughout the cleavage divisions, the zona pellucida is remaining intact. Only after the formation of blastocyst, zona pellucida will rupture and blastocyst will be hatched out. And you know blastocyst is having the outer cell layer called as a trophoblast and inner cell mass and a cavity called as a blastocele, examiner's favorite diagram. The cells of trophoblast to which inner cell mass attached is called as cells of Robert. Inner cell mass is a precursor of the embryo. Trophoblast is helping in nourishment and also it is helping in implantation. So now that is about the cleavage divisions. Now what happens next step is implantation. What is implantation? Attachment of the blastocyst to the uterine endometrium is called as implantation. Now this blastocyst is hatched out. The trophoblast towards the embryonic knob, it forms embryonic villi. And it pierces into it releases some lysins, some enzymes, which eat off the cells of endometrium. So thereby, slowly, the embryo will get buried in the endometrium. It gets completely buried in the endometrium like this. So it is not entering the myometrium, children, nor it is entering the perimetrium. It is only in the endometrium. It is completely buried in endometrium. Such a implantation is called as interstitial implantation. After fertilization, 6 to 8 days it takes for cleavage divisions. After 6 to 8 days, implantation occurs. Hormone progesterone helps in implantation while it is maintaining endometrium. Hormone progesterone is not there, there is no endometrium, and where it will take its embryo, where it will attach, it has no place to attach. So progesterone has a role in implantation by maintaining the endometrium. And then just before implantation, zona pellucida ruptures and the blastocyst is hatched out. The trophoblast, cells of Robert of the blastocyst, will have sticky substances and also they pierce into the endometrium by secreting some enzymes, and they form finger-like projections called as a villi to draw the nourishment from the uterine endometrium. One side they are entering, piercing into endometrium, one side they are taking nourishment from the endometrium and supplying to the embryo. That is how slowly the whole embryo gets pierced into the endometrium and it is buried in the endometrium. Totally it is covered by endometrium, and now it is such an implantation is called as interstitial implantation. Now, after implantation, the endometrium is referred as decidua. Decidua is the thing which is shed off. Decidual teeth, milk teeth. Decidua meaning is shed off. Milk teeth, one day they shed off. We call them as decidual teeth. The endometrium also, after childbirth, the endometrium also will come out. That is called as afterbirth. Placenta and endometrium also will shed off. So because it is going to shed off in future, that is called as decidua. The decidua towards the formation of placenta is called as decidua basalis. The decidua which is separating the embryo and the lumen of the uterus, this is called as decidua capsularis. And the decidua in the remaining part of the uterus is called as decidua parietalis. So these are the points you should know about implantation. Attachment of the blastocyst, which is the structure that is getting implanted. Modular blastocyst, blastocyst. After how many days? 6 to 8 days. Before implantation, zona pellucida will rupture and blastocyst will hatch out. What is implantation? Attachment of blastocyst to the uterine wall. Uterine endometrium is called as implantation. Which part of the blastocyst helps in implantation? Trophoblast. The trophoblast towards the embryonic knob, that is towards the cells of Robber, will secrete some enzymes and form finger-like projections called as a villi, which pierce into the endometrium and also draw the nourishment from the endometrium. Because the embryo is completely buried in the endometrium, such a type of implantation is called as interstitial implantation. After implantation, the endometrium is referred as decidua. The endometrium towards the placenta is called as decidua basalis. And the endometrium which is separating the lumen of the uterus and the embryo is called as decidua capsularis. And the endometrium which is lining the remaining part of the uterus is called as a decidua parietalis. That is about implantation. After implantation, in 12th week of pregnancy, that is just after 3 months, placenta will form. Towards this side, a structure called as placenta will form. In humans, the placenta is chorioallantoid placenta formed from two membranes called as chorion and allantoids together form placenta. So such a placenta is called as chorioallantoid placenta. It is also referred as discoidal placenta because it is formed towards the embryonic disc. We call it as a discoidal placenta. It is not formed this side, children. It is formed towards the embryonic disc. So discoidal placenta. It is also called as hemochorial placenta because the villi are dipping in the maternal blood. In the endometrium, some spaces are there which are filled with the mother's blood, and the villi are dipping in the mother's blood like this to take nutrients and oxygen from the mother's blood. So because the placenta is dipping in the mother's blood, it is called as hemochorial placenta. The main function of placenta is to take oxygen and nutrients from the mother's blood and to remove carbon dioxide and waste from the embryo. Also, placenta is acting like a temporary endocrine gland during pregnancy. Placenta secretes hormones like estrogen and progesterone, and unique hormones to placenta are HCG, human chorionic gonadotrophin, HPL, human placental lactogen. Estrogen we cannot say unique to placenta because estrogen is also secreted by adrenal cortex and ovaries, mainly by ovaries. What is estrogen doing which is secreted during pregnancy? Placenta secretes estrogen to prepare the mammary glands and to synthesize milk. Prolactin is doing that business, but supplementing estrogen also helping prolactin to synthesize milk for the growing baby. And second, progesterone, what it is doing? Progesterone is also secreted by placenta and it helps to maintain endometrium. Here, the examiner is asking you a very important bit. A female is coming, a pregnant woman is coming to the doctor with the ovarian cyst and her ovaries are removed before 3 months of pregnancy, then the fetus also will die. Because ovaries is having corpus luteum secrete progesterone and progesterone should maintain endometrium. Ovaries are removed means corpus luteum also removed and progesterone also will not be there. So endometrium will shut off and results in menstruation. Along with endometrium, the embryo also will go out. Abortion occurs. So that happens if the ovaries are removed before 3 months. But after 3 months, if the ovary is removed, nothing happens to the fetus. Why? After 3 months, ovary is removed, corpus luteum is gone, no problem. Because after 3 months, placenta is being formed. Placenta also secretes progesterone, which maintains endometrium. Now we don't need about the corpus luteum. So after 3 months, ovarectomy will not cause any harm to the fetus. Because after 3 months, placenta is secreting progesterone which is maintaining endometrium and maintaining the pregnancy without any problem. But before 3 months, placenta also not there and ovarectomy done means along with the ovary corpus luteum also will be shut off and there will be no progesterone to maintain endometrium. So the pregnancy will be lost. Very beautiful bit. Once in AIMS exam they asked and the same it is being repeated in many exams, children. So be thoroughly, you have to go through all the bits. That is about progesterone. And what are the other hormones? HCG, human chorionic gonadotrophin. Here also students are getting doubt. Ma'am, placenta is formed after 3 months. But in the preg test, which is done in the first day, that is for first week of pregnancy, then only HCG is there, ma'am. Chorion is forming HCG. And in future, chorion is forming placenta. Placenta is chorionic placenta, chorioallantoid placenta. So HCG is secreted actually by chorion. And because this chorion is forming placenta, we say HCG is secreted by placenta. So human chorionic gonadotrophin, like LH, like luteinizing hormone, it is having a role in maintaining corpus luteum. Human placental lactogen, also called as somatomammotropic hormone. It is also having a role in helping the mammary glands to secrete milk, and it is anti-insulin effect it is showing. That means insulin decreases the blood glucose, but it is increasing the blood glucose. Normal lady require little amount of glucose, but pregnant lady require double amount of glucose to feed the child also. So HPL, human placental lactogen, is enhancing the glucose level to supply to the fetus also. So these are the various hormones secreted by the placenta. So we have completed about the implantation and formation of placenta also. Tomorrow I will teach you about gastrulation, I will teach you about gestation, parturition, lactation. With that, reproduction will be completed. All the best, children. Don't waste time. Study well. And you go through the textbook and read thoroughly textbook. Teachers have told you how to download the NCERT textbooks. Like that you download, children. And if there is a will, always there is a way. Should not waste time. God bless you, children.